All right, that was our shortcut for you, all about playing something up. They're playing up vampire tourism in Transylvania. Now let's take a look at one of the places there. It's called Sighiswara, Transylvania. We had to look up how to pronounce that. We're not good at Romanian. But it was founded in the 12th century.
Wow.
And it says it is one of the most beautiful medieval towns left in Europe. If something is founded, it's when something begins. You can found a town. It's when the people first start living in that place. You can found a business. You'll sometimes on businesses that are very old, they'll say when it was founded on the sign. It'll say like EST and then a year, like 1976. It means established or founded in that year. And we're talking about the 12th century. A century, of course, is a period of 100 years.
Yeah.
And we refer to those as like the 10th, the 11th, the 12th century. The 12th century would be like the year 1100 to 1199, I guess.
Basically, yeah.
Basically, that's that period of 100 years. And this is a beautiful medieval town. That refers to a period of time, correct?
That's right. Medieval time was from around 1000 to around 14 or 1500, mainly in European history. When we think of medieval times, we think of kings, queens, knights, castles, people fighting with swords and bows and arrows.
And eating big pieces of meat with your bare hand.
Big pieces of meat. Kind of like if you watch the Game of Thrones show. Of course, that's not real history, but the style of that with the knights and people riding around on horses and fighting with swords.
And the meat.
And the meat, that's right. That was all kind of the medieval time. And then, of course, things changed and we moved into a different period of history. But yeah, if you go to Europe and you like the castles and the knights and the kings and the suits of armor and all that, that's all medieval. So what would we see if we went to Sighiswara, this beautiful medieval town? Lots of good stuff. It says it has towers, cobbled streets, old houses, and grand churches. Wow, sounds really beautiful. So a tower is what you might see on the corner of a castle, very large structure made out of stone with little windows that you could shoot arrows through. It's where the king or the lord would concentrate all of his power. Cobbled streets, well, these are old style streets. When they didn't have the modern streets for cars, they used to make streets out of individual little stones. So cobbled streets are basically streets created with stone. They're kind of rough and bouncy. Don't try to ride a bicycle on a cobbled street in the rain. It could be very slippery. But for horses back then, it was actually quite easy for them to walk because, of course, horses don't need the smooth roads that bicycles and cars do. So there you go. You'd see lots of really beautiful stuff in Sighiswara. But that's not all you'd see.
That's not all. It says it was also the home of Vlad Dracula or Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad Dracula.
Wow, okay, Vlad the Impaler. Impaler means that you would cut somebody's stomach open.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It
means you take a stick and you put their body on the stick.
Oh, that's worse.
That's to impale
That's worse.
someone. Yeah.
Oh,
He was
man.
a really gross, disgusting, awful man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought impaled meant something else. That's even worse than I
Sometimes
thought.
they would put it through your belly, so you'd kind of be like a piece of meat
that's
for a
probably
barbecue.
where I got it from.
Ooh, here's the other one. Sometimes they'd put it up your...
Oh, okay, okay, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
Like a squid on a stick.
Okay, so basically when I go to the barbecue stand, it would be like that.
Kind of like that. And
But
you know
with
what
people.
he used to do? He used to make his dinner outside in the field, surrounded by a forest of people who had been impaled.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a really awful, awful person.
Interesting guy.
Yeah.
It says, in addition to all of this, he was a 15th century ruler, and the influence behind Bram Stoker's famous character, the vampire Count Dracula. Okay, so this is back in the 15th century, the 1400s, in other words. And this guy, Vlad the Impaler, he was the influence behind this character. If you're the influence for something, it means you are the reason why somebody did something. Or in this case, it's the influence for a character. So Bram Stoker was a very famous writer, of course. And he took a look at Vlad the Impaler, and he came up with this character, Dracula, based on Vlad the Impaler. So
That's right.
He looked at all these things, all these terrible things, which Mike just talked about, and he put them into this character, which was a count. A count was somebody from the upper classes, almost like
a
royalty,
lord,
but
maybe related to the king somehow.
Just somebody who was rich, who had a lot of land. They would have servants. They might have had
knights,
slaves,
castles,
kind of people who worked for them but didn't really get paid that much. And people who lived on their land had to give them money, that sort of thing. So this was a count and not a very good person.
No, exactly. Most people, it says, who visit Sigiswara come for the vampires and stay for the culture. So the vampires kind of attracts the people. Ooh, let's go check it out. But once they go there, there's many other things to enjoy in Sigiswara. The culture is one of the main ones. Culture is the kind of thing that makes people in different parts of the world different from each other. The clothes they wear, the foods that they eat, the languages, religions, and holidays that they celebrate. All of that is culture. So you can have someone from Taiwan and someone from America, and well, they look kind of the same. But then when you find out who they are and what's important and what their family history, what their country's history, all of that kind of stuff, it's all about culture. And that's why people like to travel, to experience different cultures. It says, in fact, the people of Sigiswara take its old world charm very seriously. Well, that's good. They're protecting it. It's not just a fun thing for the people who live there. They know it's important. If you take something or somebody seriously, well, you're treating it in a serious manner. You're not joking about it and not considering it important. You're considering it to be very important and worth protecting.
There is even a medieval festival every year in the central citadel.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
A part of the city that is surrounded by a wall. Central just means in the middle of something. And a citadel is kind of like a fortress? A part of a fortress?
The inner part of a castle, the strongest part of a castle.
And today's article concludes by saying visiting Sigiswara is truly like going back in time. It's like traveling into the past. We're going to continue learning about Romania and vampires and all that good stuff on the next program. Before we leave you today, let's go to our For You chat.